In today's video, I am going to be talking about many different things. First off, I'm going to talk about the Hungarian Grand Prix out in Budapest. It was kind of a snooze fest, but there were some things that did take place to make it a little bit interesting. And then I'm also going to give y'all my full-on predictions for the Belgian Grand Prix because I believe it is going to be a good race. Fingers crossed on that. But enough said here. On to the intro we go. Please like and subscribe.
I'm Chase Briscoe, driver number 14 Ford Mustang for Stewart Haas Racing, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
From what we've seen on Friday in both free practices and on Saturday with free practice 3 and qualifying, we thought we were going to be in for a good Grand Prix. We had a Hamilton on pole, the McLarens on the second row lockout. We had Zhou Guanyu in 5th place and Valtteri Bottas in 7th. The Alfa Romeos were very high up on the grid, places where they're not really supposed to be from the amount of money they put in. That you would think they'd be farther back, but they were punching above their weight, and that was a good sign for them. But they did not get off the line very well. Zhou Guanyu sucked it up, and so did Valtteri Bottas. And next thing you know, in the turn 1, Verstappen did get the jump off of Hamilton and beat him, and Verstappen took the lead. Hamilton went back to 4th. We had Piastri follow seat to Verstappen and Lando Norris, and it stayed like that for the first stint. But later on in the pack, as they went into turn 1, we saw Zhou Guanyu get in the back of an Alpine, and pretty much both Alpines were involved in a turn 1 incident, and it ended their day a double DNF back-to-back Grand Prix. And they got to turn things around because right now they're losing touch in McLaren in the constructors battle. And if another Grand Prix goes by and they have something like that catastrophically go wrong, they're going to find themselves in 6th place, in a distant 6th place in the constructors. And that's not a good feeling if you're Otmar Safnauer, because you got a new leadership. You got someone new to report to, and he may want to change things up. And I just don't know what's going on in Alpine lately. I'm starting to lose faith in them, and losing Fernando Alonso really did hurt them because he was consistent. And right now, there's no consistency in the organization, so I would expect some big changes to be made. Pierre Gasly is not impressing me at all. Ocon has his moments, but they just need to be consistent, and that double DNF was not good at all. And to mention that when Ocon actually went into the air during the incident, it came back down really hard, and it shattered his seat or cracked it in half. And that is a scary deal, but glad he's all right. But the race continued on. We saw McLaren do a ballsy strategy where they decided to pit Norris early and to overcut his teammate who was running second, to take over second. And Piastri was left in the dirt, in my opinion. He was the highest car. He should have got the better strategy, but he didn't. And next thing you know, Piastri went to 3rd. And next thing you know, he goes back to 4th and then 5th because this bad strategy, that one strategy blunder, costed Oscar Piastri at least a 4th place result. I would have thought at the end he would have probably got passed by Perez, but the point is, though, he could have finished 4th instead of 5th. And just because of that one decision to pit Norris sooner. And I like I've said, though, McLaren, I'm really impressed with them. I believe they're going to have a phenomenal weekend out in Spa. The straight line speed they got is going to be good. But there you go there. Later on in the race, we saw the Mercedes just fall apart. It was crazy, but within lap 65 to lap 70, the last 5 laps of the race, low fuel, they came to life. They're just a one-lap team. That's all they are. Hopefully the big upgrades they're bringing to Spa are actually going to change the whole complexity of the season, because right now, at the beginning of the year, they were struggling. They were back in the later stages of the top 10. Now they're working their way up, but right now they're stuck with the position 5 and 6, maybe 4th or 3rd if they get lucky, but they got to crack it at some point. I believe they will with this upgrade. I believe it's going to bring them up to possibly 4th and 3rd, maybe battle for the podium consistently. George Russell was left in the dirt in qualifying, had a great day, got some solid points. The Ferraris fell apart. Verstappen winning it again. And on the podium, celebrations, Lando Norris with the famous spike. with his champagne shattered Max Verstappen trophy, as you'll see right now. But there you go there. Not really much to talk about from the Hungarian Grand Prix. So on to the Belgian Grand Prix, where I'm going to talk about the constructors at first. This is how I personally believe the constructors ranking are going to be like in the Belgian Grand Prix. I'm not talking about points. I'm just talking about who's going to be competitive and who's not. Obviously, back in 10th place is going to be the AlphaTauri. They are very, very bad all around every circuit. They don't got good straight line speed. They're not really good in medium speed corners. Their car is not that good. But maybe next year things can change around, because they're going to be a little bit closer, from what I'm hearing, to Red Bull. So they're going to be higher up in the constructors next year. But for right now, they suck. 9th place is going to be Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo, their types of tracks are Monaco, Budapest, Hungary, and you got Singapore. And I believe Qatar at the end is going to be fairly nice to them. But that one main straight is going to kill them. But I believe, and also Brazil, but I just believe this is going to be a rough weekend for the Alfa Romeos. They're not good on straight line speed, and you need that here at Spa. 8th place is going to be Alpine. They're similar to Alfa Romeo, but they're just a tad bit better in the straight line. I don't expect them to be very competitive at all. So there you go, 8th place. Ferrari in 7th place. I know this is going to be a big, what are you thinking here, William? I just believe they're just going to suck it up this weekend. I believe they're going to be battling from 7th to 10th place easily. And I think Leclerc is going to have an issue, which will cause him to DNF. I'm kind of giving a hint. But yeah, I think 7th place in the constructor battle is going to be fairly fair to them. 6th place is going to be Haas. And Haas is going to be the highest Ferrari team up there. They're phenomenal in the straight line speed. And with Nico Hülkenberg being a qualifying god, he's probably going to have a good starting position, and possibly inside the top 6, top 8 maybe. But there you go. Nico Hülkenberg, I believe, is going to play a big factor in the Belgian Grand Prix. And so will Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen is on a rough stint as of lately, and he's wanting to turn things around, because right now, Gene Haas and Gunther Steiner are speaking highly of Nico Hülkenberg, but they're really not saying much nice things about Kevin Magnussen. They're acknowledging he's there, but not saying really much about him. And I know that's an uncomfortable feeling for Kevin Magnussen, because this is his last year under contract, and he's wanting to return next year. So if the pace keeps up the way it's going, he may not be back next year. So he wants to turn things around, and I believe the best thing to do before the summer break, which we'll see a lot of silly season news break, is for him to score a point. Because if he can go out to Spa and score at least 1 point in the Haas, I believe they re-sign him easily. I don't see why they wouldn't, but that's just going to be another reason why they should re-sign him if he scores a point. 5th place is going to be Aston Martin. They're good. They're a well-rounded car, but they're not going to be competitive at all. They're going to be scoring points, I believe, but it's going to be on the borderline. 4th place is going to be Williams. We saw the speed and race pace they had at the British Grand Prix. Logan Sargent finished 11th. Alex Albon in the points. I believe they're going to have a big weekend here. I believe honestly, James Vowles is going to be the reason why they're going to be in the top of the constructors at the end of the 2024 season. It's going to take the rest of this year and early next year to get the car developed in the right direction, because right now they're terrible, really bad at your slow tracks. They were slow this past weekend, but if they can get that all around, I just believe they're going to be one of the better teams on the grid. And that budget, the cost cap, is saving them, and it's making it more competitive. But no one wants to talk about it because Red Bull is just dominating. I'm a Mercedes fan. I'm acknowledging it. The teams are getting more competitive than they were. So there you go. I believe Williams are going to be the 4th quickest team out in Spa. 3rd team is going to be Mercedes. I believe their upgrade is going to be good enough, and they're going to have the straight line speed like they did in Silverstone. So 3rd place, but not 2nd place. So because 2nd place is going to belong to the McLarens. I believe they're going to be good. They're going to have solid qualifying pace, and there is a very good chance one may be on pole. I kind of give a hint here, but obviously the top is going to be Red Bull. They're unstoppable. I don't see how Adrian Newey, as smart as he is, because for one, they're good on your slow speed tracks and they're good on your high speed tracks. It's just probably the best car. The RB19 is the best car in Formula One history. I don't know. Maybe the 2020 Mercedes car. I don't know. That'd be a good race. I don't know though. But there you go. There's my constructors lineup there for Spa. So now let's take a look at the picks. Going back to 20th place is going to be Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. I believe he's going to have a terrible qualifying effort, and it's going to make him start in the middle of the pack. And with that happening, there's a bunch of unknowns. I just got him finishing dead last of a DNF. 19th place is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. He did have a solid weekend out in Budapest, and it was one of his better tracks. He's going out of Spa, a decent track to him. He's been good here in the past. So I just don't know, though, with the AlphaTauri speed, so I just got him finishing 19th and Yuki Tsunoda 18th. The AlphaTauri is just a terrible car. I told you earlier, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get much worse before it gets any better, if that's the case. 17th place is going to be Nico Hülkenberg. I did speak highly of them just a minute ago, but that's in qualifying. Nico Hülkenberg has never been a good racer. Like, he's in Formula One, don't get me wrong. But I believe, though, when it comes to race pace, Nico Hülkenberg's irrelevant. He's just a one-lap pace guy. So I got him finishing 17th. 16th place is going to be Zhou Guanyu. Zhou Guanyu has to pick it up because right now he has to race for his future. Because if he does not finish out the season really well, Alfa Romeo is not going to re-sign him, or more like Sauber, because Sauber is going to be the team name. Alfa Romeo is going to be going to Haas. But yeah, Zhou Guanyu has to turn some heads this weekend because we all got to remember the summer break is where all of the silly season news happens. Last year we saw Alonso, we saw Albon return, we saw the Piastri stuff go on. There's a lot of things that are going to take place here in the next month, and if Zhou Guanyu cannot perform well, his seat is going to be on the line. Pierre Gasly is going to finish in 15th. 14th is going to be Valtteri Bottas. 13th is going to be Esteban Ocon. 12th place is going to be Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll, not impressed by him this past weekend. 11th place is going to be Logan Sargent. WTF is a kilometer, if you know what I'm saying. That's the biggest meme on the internet right now for Logan Sargent. 10th place is going to be Alex Albon. He's going to have a solid weekend. 9th place is going to be Kevin Magnussen. Remember, folks, what I was saying a minute ago, Kevin Magnussen needs to score points in the Belgian Grand Prix, and I believe he will. And without a doubt, they're going to bring him back next year in 2024. And a lot of people may say, hey, William, why you got Kevin Magnussen finishing 9th and Hülkenberg in 17th? Magnussen is not really a good qualifier. He has never been. He won a pole last year in Sao Paulo in Brazil, but that was in the sprint race, and things fell apart because he was hanging on in the opening wreck with Daniel Ricciardo. But he's never been a good qualifier. He's always been good at race pace, and I believe that's what's going to help him out at the Belgian Grand Prix. All right, now in 8th place is going to be Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. Aston's not going to be competitive, but they're going to be there, though, if you know what I'm saying. 7th place is going to be Carlos Sainz. He's going to have a disappointing weekend, but he's still going to beat his teammate, I believe. 6th place is going to be George Russell. Hopefully the upgrades may boost him up to a 5th place or maybe a 4th, but I'm just a little curious and cautious right now when I'm thinking about it. 5th place is going to be Lando Norris, and that right there is going to make people think, what is going on up front? Because 4th place is going to be Lewis Hamilton, so your remaining 3 is going to be, I believe, Sergio Perez in 3rd, Max Verstappen in 2nd. Oscar Piastri picks up his first career win in Formula One at the 2023 Belgian Grand Prix. You heard it from me first. Oscar Piastri will win his first race in Formula One. I believe the race pace he did have this past weekend in Budapest was something we don't really see often. A rookie coming in and taking the fight to his teammate, who is regarded as being one of the better drivers on the grid. Maybe if they were all on equal machinery, he can bring the fight to Verstappen, Leclerc, and Hamilton, and Alonso. But I like what Oscar Piastri is doing. I'm going to look like a real big dummy if this does not play out, but I believe Just the way the McLaren cars have been running lately, they're going to be good in qualifying, and Piastri will win the Belgian Grand Prix. But enough said here. Everybody, though, remember to please like and subscribe, and everybody have a great and phenomenal day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.